to have a great second 15 minutes.
A lot of people are asking me, hey, can we split up the deposits? Can we pay in different things? We'll fix it.
And we're live. Happy Friday, Facebook. Look at this guy. Who do we got?
We are drinking Tandoy Distilleries from fucking Manila, Philippines.
All right, guys. So the AZ Flip Guys version of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Like, where in the world is Brian Ponciano? Where are you, man?
Here's the thing: is it would be a secret if you didn't follow me on social media. So if you guys are not following me on social media, make sure that you check out Ash at Cashflow Creator on Instagram. Or make sure you follow me here on Facebook. But nonetheless, I am over finally in the Philippines. I am hanging out in Taguig, Manila, over here in the Philippines. I actually got a chance to fly in. I'm going to be heading out, I think tomorrow or the next day. I'm flying out to the beautiful beaches here in the Philippines. But decided to come into Manila and actually check out and meet face to face some of our virtual assistants, some of our virtual team, man, which they are all awesome, by the way.
Oh man, I'm so jealous. You get to hang out with our crew, man. So hey, China, you got a 12-hour layover in China. What was that like?
Holy shit. All right, guys, so before I even tell you about that, do yourself a favor. When you are traveling international, book yourself a long layover. If you have an over 12-hour layover, I think it's over an 8-hour layover, the airlines will actually give you a hotel, or they'll give you access to their private lounge where you can shower, you can take a nap, whatever. Now, I could have stayed in the lounge inside of the fucking airport, or I could have gone out to the fucking hotel at 12 hours in the streets of China, which was exactly what I did, man. I ended up at this beach. I met this group of random ass strangers. It was two couples from Utah, two Mormon couples, super nice people. And then we brought on these two additional people that were just kind of hanging out the airport lounge. We were deciding, because once you get out of customs, they basically kick you out of the airport in a sense. Then you have to go back in and you have to go in through your airline. And then at that point, you make a decision if you want to go into the lounge or if you want to go out into the city. So I met them. We went out. We went to the beach. Then we ended up at this cool, awesome marketplace where, I shit you not, Chris, we were the only non-tourist people there. Dude, everybody, I've never once felt like such a fucking goddamn celebrity. These Chinese people were literally taking pictures of us, running up to us, wanting to take pictures with us. Man, it was just the most amazing experience. Like, if you guys get a chance, highly suggest you take a long layover. We were in Xiaoming, China, and just an amazing experience.
That's awesome. So guys, this is not a test. You are seeing BP live from the Philippines. You are on Flippin' Fridays, episode 98. We're gonna have Anson joining us in just a couple minutes, but we definitely wanted to check out our nomadic hustler out there. So guys, it's going to be an awesome show. So don't forget to share this, right? You guys, if you are watching us on other podcasts, YouTube, if you're watching this on a replay, always bring your questions. If you got questions for BP about travel, bring them. We're always going to go back. We're going to reply and get back to you guys. So,
yep,
BP.
So let me do the intro since all the way I might do the intro.
Please do, sir.
So we are the AZ Flip Guys. That is Cashflow Chris. I am Cashflow Creator. We are just two ordinary guys doing extraordinary things, talking about real estate, mindset, and everything in between. And today we have our awesome, amazing guest, Anson. Now, I've known Anson for a while virtually. And you know what's funny is that every time that he's in Phoenix or every time that I'm in Denver, we both just happen to miss each other. Either I'm traveling, or I'm busy, or he's busy. So we're always this close to meeting each other. Never get a chance to actually meet each other, but I'm so glad that we have him here on the show. As I said, guys, if you guys are listening to us on a replay, first of all, make sure that you go to our iTunes. Make sure you can find us under Flipping Fridays. So you can actually find our show, make sure you download it, make sure that you give us a 5-star review, and more importantly, make sure that you share with your friends. But if you are listening to a replay, whether that be on iTunes, whether that be on Facebook, whether that be on YouTube. Make sure that you join us live every Friday at noon Arizona time. Facebook.com/AZ Flip Guys. You can actually join us live. You can talk shit. You can ask questions. You can throw in your comments. It's just always a whole lot of fun. So yes, we put out a lot of content. Yes, I personally always listen to our shows. I always listen to the replay to see how we did. But more importantly, if you want to be part of the fun, if you want to be part of the action, Facebook.com/AZ Flip Guys. This and every single Friday at Arizona time, noon.
There it is, everybody. Anson, what do you think about that, man?
I think it's awesome, man. I want to be in Manila right now. So living the life.
The Thrilla in Manila. All right, BP. So real quick, why don't you let us know what do you got scheduled?
Oh man, so today I went on a crazy fucking random ass adventure. I literally just left the hotel, walked the main streets, saw this alleyway and said, why not? And I walked into this neighborhood and holy fuck, dude, it was like a maze. Every street led to another street, what led to another street. There was all kinds of dead ends, all kinds of twists and turns. And I don't know how the fuck I found my way back into the main road, but I finally found my way into the main road. So that was today, was just general exploration. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to the first Chinatown in the world. So I found out that the very first Chinatown in the world was actually here in Manila. If you guys follow my travels, you know that I always highly suggest you go to Chinatown for two reasons. First of all, you get the cheapest fucking souvenirs there. So don't buy them at the airport. Don't buy them at the markets. Buy them in your local Chinatown if they happen to have one. Second of all, I love Asian food. So I always go there and grub on whatever the fuck they got going on. So tomorrow I'm taking, dude, it's not even a tuk-tuk. It's like a motorcycle with a little tiny sidecar. I'm taking that tomorrow into Chinatown. So you guys make sure to follow my stories for that. After that, let me see. My days are all fucked up. So tomorrow's Friday. On Saturday, I'm hanging out here. Sunday, I'm driving into the local beach. So we didn't have a time to book a flight to go to the island that I wanted to. But I found that in the main island, about 4, 5, 6 hours south of here, is a really beautiful beach, and it's actually got more of a local vibe than what more stuff that I like anyway. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be heading down there for about 3 or 4 days. I'm gonna be hanging out at the beach specifically to bring in my birthday, my 37th birthday. Then after that, I'm flying into a town called Cebu. I saw this on Netflix. It was under a show called Street Eats, and they did a version of the Philippines. And this whole island, the town of Cebu, which happens to be the second biggest city in all of the Philippines, they're actually very, very famously known for all their street food because the residents are just so poor over there that it's easier for them to not have a kitchen and just walk out into the streets and get food. So not only is it street food, but it's seafood, which is a double fucking whammy for me. And then after that, I'm get back into Manila, hang out with the crew for a few more days before having another layover in China and then making it back into the States on the 17th.
Damn, busy man. All right, man. Well, thanks for the update. You got anything for our crew before you take off?
No. I just wanted to join you guys here since I just happened to be up at 3 in the morning here in Manila, which is 12 AZ time. So I just wanted to pop in, say what's up. I do actually want to give something out to the audience, guys. Real quickly, want you to know, I grew up extremely fucking poor. While I was in LA catching the Uber from, shout out to my good friend Julia. I love you. Wow, thank you for letting me fucking leave my car in your place. That's such a huge fucking benefit over in LA. But anyway, I caught an Uber down to the airport. The guy driving me, he grew up in the same neighborhoods that I did. He was very similar to me, I would have been back in that time. And he was just like, oh, man, you're going to China, man. Oh, China, bro. I've never even thought about doing that. And the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that I grew up poor. I grew up dirt poor. I grew up with fucking taking showers through a fucking bucket and a goddamn bowl. And if I can make it to the other side of the world, then anybody can make it to the other side of the world. And honestly, man, if you look hard enough, you will able to find cheap tickets. I've actually paid less for this trip, round trip from LA, than I did for my first trip from Phoenix to goddamn fucking Miami. So if you guys find it, you'll seek it. But I just want to put it out there. travel. Doesn't matter where you are in life right now. Just look for it. Like my mom used to say, and I share this all the time, el que busca encuentra. If you seek it, you will find it. And guys, I am a broke ass street kid who grew up with nothing, who our only trips were literally from LA to Phoenix driving. That was our version of a vacation. And I'm now getting to spend my 37th birthday over in Manila, Philippines. And that all comes from having the right mindset, surrounding yourself with the right people, but more than anything, believing that it's actually possible. So I just want to leave you guys with a little nugget, because I'm sure that somebody listening to this live or somebody listening to this replay needed to hear that. But man, Anson, I am so excited. So I am actually going to get off the call. I'll still be on the audience. I'll be in there asking questions and talking shit. So if anybody has any questions about me, about my experiences in the Philippines, if anybody wants to give me some tips about the Philippines, and by the way, dude, I just got the best massage. No happy endings for all you fucking but I got the best hour-long massage for less than 10 American dollars. It worked out about $9.25 or something along those lines.
I love it, man.
Fucking shiatsu, hot rocks, the whole 9 fucking yards for $10 goddamn for an hour.
I'd do that every day, man.
Oh man, every day, right?
Every day.
You ask people to talk shit, so here we go. Angelique wants to say, "Hey BP, they swarmed you because you look like Mexican Buddha."
Bro, people thought they actually were gonna walk me when I was walking through customs. They were actually gonna walk me through the national line because they thought I was Filipino.
Nice. And then Angelique wants to know how many stamps you getting on your passport this trip.
Two. One in China, one in the Philippines.
Boom.
And by the way, fucking China refused twice to give my monkey Bobby Jack a passport and a stamp in his passport. Twice these motherfuckers refused me.
Bunch of commies, man. Bunch of commies.
Yes. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna get off. I'll still be on the show, so I'll be on the comments. I'll be responding to your questions, guys. But anyway, I just wanted to get our good guy Anson in here. Anson, by the way, super excited to have you on the show. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a while, so like I said, I'll be participating virtually, but I'll let you guys get on.
Nice, man. Thanks.
All right, brother.
Later. All right, let's remove this guy. All right, guys, we have a very special guest all the way from Detroit, Colorado. That
Detroit, Colorado. It's
from Denver, Colorado. Mr. Anson Young has been in the business for several years, has done hundreds of wholesale / fix and flips. And, he's been a speaker at who we got Nathan Brooks's meetup group a few days ago. He's an author with bigger pockets, and he has a ton of value to bring. So guys, I want you to bring your questions, and I'd like to introduce formally Mr. Anson Young.
Hey man, thanks for having me. You guys have a great show going on. And, so I'm really happy to be part of it. Even if BP's in Manila, talking shit through Facebook. So
right. Awesome, man. So I'm sure a lot of our Facebook followers know who you are because you're one of these Facebook famous guys, but why don't you let everybody else know a little bit about you? How did you get started in real estate?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm a fix and flipper, wholesaler, wholetailer, agent, whatever you want me to do out here in Denver, and do that full time, obviously. But starting off, I really started off in IT way back in the day. Was didn't really know what to do. Kind of fell into IT. My dad was in IT, and I got laid off like everybody did. Around 2003. Like all my friends who were in IT got laid off at the time, and so I really didn't know what to do after that. So I kind of had two choices. One was like double down on IT, which means getting more certifications, specializing more, going basically back to school and getting more schooling so that you can, have a specialty and get into that, or do something else. And I had no idea. And so actually I always tell this story where, since I was laid off, my wife and I decided, hey, let's go down to Phoenix for a couple of years. That's where our niece had just been born. And so we're like, hey, I don't have a job. I was bartending at the time, but I don't have a career going. Might as well go down there and figure it out. So right before I left, I got a gift from a friend, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah.
The book that launched, everybody's career, it seems like. And on the way down there, I always tell this story where, like, every time I'm not driving the moving van on that like 12-hour drive, I'm like reading this book, kind of like a crack addict, because it was literally blowing my mind. I had never been exposed to anything like that. Just a complete mindset shift. And so when we landed in Phoenix, we were in like northwest Phoenix, surprise. And when we landed there, it's kind of like, hey, new city, my mind's been blown by this book. Let's do this thing. And so yeah, basically started my real estate career in Phoenix in like 2004. Just had no idea what I was doing, but that was kind of my road to getting started. And there is a little path in there where I didn't like try to back out of real estate, but I was trying to double down on IT at the same time, just as like something to fall back on. And I got like halfway through like this first progression into what I wanted to do, and I just realized I can't do it. I can't do the cubicles. I can't do the bosses. I can't do somebody else being able to just lay me off and being in control of that part of my future. So that quickly ended, and I kind of just jumped in with real estate as much as I could.
We see that a lot because it's really hard to be halfway in, especially if you get in and you make a nice big wholesale check. You're like, oh my gosh, like to see the possibilities is huge. So obviously going back to a cubicle and where you're absolutely limited on anything that you can do,
right?
That just ruins people.
It does, yeah. Especially and at the time I didn't have success to show for it yet. So I guess it was kind of easy to try to have a fallback position. You're married, you're young, you're kind of like, you want security at the same time you have all these options in front of you. And so yeah, I get it. Like, and especially after you get kind of your first checks, you get ruined because you go, this is actually working. This is more money than I made, ever in a year. And yeah, from then on, you're pretty much ruined. So,
but you don't have that steady monthly check or bi-weekly check. I mean, what did your wife think about that?
And I think at the time, since I'd been bartending and stuff, it was a little bit, we were kind of used to a little bit of a fluctuating income, but our expenses were so low that honestly, it like she could cover basically our monthly amount that we needed. And then I was kind of able to do whatever I wanted. I was bartending at the time because you might as well use, the time that you have when you don't have kids. Just you have time to go do that and pursue a real estate career. And so, I think if we had like a giant amount of expenses, we were chasing that American dream of bigger, better. And we had like, a bunch of cars and huge house that we didn't need. I'm sure that it would have been a lot harder to get started, but we were literally like in a 1,100 square foot house in Surprise that we were renting, for like $800 a month or something at the time. And, after that, we didn't have much more expenses. So it was easy to kind of bootstrap that whole thing. And there wasn't a lot of risk there. So.
All right. So it's 2004. You're getting out of your other job and you're ready to go full time. So what'd you get started with? Were you pretty much just a wholesaler to start off?
I think my problem was that I was pretty scattered starting off. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's kind of like you jump in, you hear about 10 different things and you try to pursue, all 10 of those things, and all at the same time, not really knowing what you're doing at all. And I got really trapped into that. And once I kind of laser focused, like, okay, I want to flip a house or I want to wholesale it. I just have to get good at finding deals. And our very first deal was in Glendale, Arizona. And we, it ended up to be, looking back at it now, is definitely like somebody was wholetailing this house, wholetailed the house to us, but it still needed a lot of work. And so,
Why don't you go back just a second and what is wholesale? A lot of our people don't know exactly what that is.
For sure. So it's like if you buy a house and then you just so like a full-on flip would be, you know, you renovate a lot of different things and you spend months renovating a house, kitchen, bathrooms, you know, new roof, all this stuff. A wholesale would be like if you buy a house and then you just like paint the inside and then sell it as is. It's like you're providing a little bit of inventory for the neighborhood and you're trying to get as much money as possible for the house just as is, but you're sending it out to the general market as opposed to a wholesale, which you would provide that inventory to another investor. And so yeah, looking back, it was totally a wholesale deal, which is kind of funny because we bought it and then I had tried to wholesale it myself, like putting it on the market or putting it back on the market. Everybody was doing this at the time. It was so crazy. Like my mentor at the time, really nice lady named Joy. She had all these California clients who would come in, buy like 10 houses a month straight off the market, just like full retail price all over Phoenix, and then just relist them the next month for like $20,000-$30,000 higher and get it like every month, like buy 10, sell 10, buy 10, sell 10.
Yeah.
And when you're young and you don't know what's going on, you're just like, oh, this is just what you do, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. So I tried to list it. I tried to lease option it. And at the end of the day, you know, my wife and I looked at each other. We're like, this is like our first house. It needs a lot of work. We need, you know, a better place to live. Why don't we just move into it and fix it up?
Nice.
And so it ended up to be a live-in flip. So we lived there for a year, sold it right at the end of 2005. And I swear it was like 3 weeks later, the market started cooling off. Yeah. And actually I sold it back to my realtor, who is still like speculating, like, cause we watched the Cardinal Stadium go up from our house. That's how close it is to Westgate over there. Right. And so she, you know, she was like, hey, Super Bowl's coming in a couple of years. I'm going to short-term rental this thing. And I think she actually still has it, but yeah, we basically just like straight up, flipped it to her, and then she kept it as a rental for now, like 12 years. So,
well, that's one of the great things about real estate is it's versatile. You know, you can all, you know, you're buying the asset and of course you want to sell it, but you have more than one option. Like you said, you could have done a lease option. You could have just rented it straight out. You chose to move into it so you could, you know, throughout time do those repairs and get it up to par with the market. Did you end up making money on that?
Oh yeah. Total, it was all because I'm super smart and knew what I was doing. Not at all. We made about 60 grand on that. And it was all because of, you know, 44% a year appreciation at the time in Phoenix. It like everybody made money. I mean, I don't know if you were in real estate at the time.
I got in December 2014.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 2004.
2004. Okay.
2004. So
I mean, you would remember like people who would camp out at new development, and then they would, you know, buy a lot or put money down on a lot for a new build, and then flip that, you know, for 30 grand. You know, like my hairdresser's talking about flipping lots. It's, you know, it's like
we would have line on Baseline Road. They had new builds, and there were lines down the road of people. The line wasn't to buy a house. The line was to get in a lottery to be able to buy a house.
Yep.
That's exactly what was happening. Prices were skyrocketing. People were locking it up. By the time the house was done, they had 50, 60, 70,000 equity.
Yep.
Right. We had a lot of China buyers directly from China. They would come with their family because they were only allowed to buy 10 each. So they buy 10 for them, 10 for their wife, you know, and a lot of these people got in, got out. But a lot of those guys are the ones that got caught up in the downturn as well. Also
true. Yeah. I remember looking at a new build and Surprise that we really liked. And it was like 179, which now sounds crazy. And we were like, I think that's too expensive. And then a few years later, 2009, when we actually re-entered the Phoenix market selling REOs, looking up that same neighborhood, although the same exact model, they were selling for like 70, $65,000, $70,000. I mean, we would have been, $100,000 upside down on that same house that we were like hemming and hawing about. We would have been stuck or had to do a short sale or been screwed in some way. So being caught holding the bag is no fun. And I'm sure that there was a ton of people wiped out, especially in Phoenix when things got bloody for sure.
It sure did. And you know what? We'll talk about that because you brought up REO. So we're definitely going to go down that path. BP says also, like you said, your hairdresser, he says, when your taxi driver is giving you real estate advice, run.
Yeah. And that's what I'm going to say. Like when your hairdresser is talking about real estate, flipping houses, it's probably time to shift or, get out of the way there, because that's when the dumb money is in play for sure.
Now, do you see a parallel? Because I'm seeing a lot of things right now that I saw back then. I think there's a lot of fix and flippers who are going to get absolutely burned in the next year or so. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm not up and up on Phoenix. I kind of the year over year right now. But I think in Denver, we see a lot more, we don't see as big of swings. Mm-hmm. So while we did see a definite cool off in like September, I don't know if you guys experienced this too. Everybody around here was kind of freaking out because all of a sudden our inventory jumped 50%, wow. Right? Which sounds like a lot, right? But you're talking about a 4-week inventory to a 6-week inventory, right? So it's still like
relative,
super tight.
Yeah. Okay.
4,000 units up to 6,000 units, right?
Oh, that's where you're at. Okay.
Yeah. And so we're seeing like longer days on market, higher. All of a sudden we're seeing price decreases, which we weren't seeing a lot of before. A lot of the things you don't want to see as a flipper or a new build, developer. But I think that things will level off. I don't think that we're going to see any negative, or a lot of negative drop. I just don't see a lot of the same factors as 2006, subprime, arms adjusting, ninja loans, like that kind of stuff. Right. I don't see those popping. If anything, it might be something bigger, like a student loan, debt. I don't know, maybe some sort of political or economical thing that we can't see right now. But I don't know. That's an interesting question. What do you think about that for where you're at?
Yeah, now I don't necessarily think actually 100% don't think we're going to have what we had before.
Sure,
because that was kind of all the dominoes lining up. And as you stated, it's different from last time. Because when I look at all the fix and flips that we sold over the last 4 or 5 years, they were all $600 payments, $500 payments, like these people were buying, interest rates are low.
Right.
So back then people would drop their, $1,800 a month payment, but are you going to stop paying your $600 a month payment so you can go rent the same house for $1,200? Like,
right.
So people have equity, people have low affordable payments.
Sure.
But I just mean in my market, investors are just paying stupid prices. Like there's no way. They need the market to continue to go up to be able to make profits.
They're banking on that appreciation to save their formula, right?
Yes.
So their comps might say like 200, but they're like, well, in 3 months or 5 months, that might be that 225 that I need to actually exit this project and make money, which is, that's very dangerous.
I know people are going to have foreclosures or rental properties in 2022.
That's right. Forced landlords.
For sure, but that's okay. All right, so let's go back. So you went through the market. You're still in Phoenix, yeah?
Well, right at the end of 2005, like we took a trip to Vegas. I guess we're those people that don't enjoy Vegas all that much, but we had fun. We kind of looked at each other. My brother had already moved out of Phoenix for work, and so we were kind of there by ourselves. We'd made some great friends and everything, but our family was all back in Colorado. And the 2 years we lived there was, at the time, it was like the most consecutive days without rain and like the most consecutive days over 100 degrees. So those were our 2 summers.
Nice, yeah.
And so we were either going to put in a pool or move. And so we decided to move. And yeah, right at the end of 2005, we moved back to Denver. So we jumped ship. So nothing against Phoenix, but it's hot and it's hot. So we're out.
Right. Yeah, everybody comes here in the winter time and it's just amazing. And this,
Oh, it's beautiful.
yeah, wait till July, which is
It's
why
beautiful,
it's my plan to be in places like Denver in July instead.
Nice. Yeah, come on out, man. It only gets to like 90.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah,
so when did you get your real estate license?
Not till like 2007.
Okay.
So I actually spent a year, I spent like all of 2006, moving to a new city, and you have one deal under your belt, technically, that you kind of fumbled into and you fumbled out of, like I didn't know what I was doing. And so moving back to a new city is almost like starting over. Like all of my contacts that I made through the RIAs and friends and everything else, didn't have those. The little that I knew about the Phoenix market doesn't apply here, and so it felt a lot like starting over. So what I ended up doing was I took a job. My best friend Andy was working for a realtor, and he needed somebody who could do BPOs all day, so broker price opinions, for short sales and for bank.
What's a BPO? Explain
so
that.
like a bank or a private firm would hire an agent to do a broker price opinion, which is kind of a light appraisal. I mean, it goes through, you do a drive-by, you do pictures, you have this whole form where you fill in all the comparables to this property, and then you make adjustments like an appraiser would. Right. I mean, it's like, to me, it was like 7/10 of the way to an appraisal. It was a lot of work and a lot of that valuation work. And so, he kind of taught me what to do, and then just sat me down in front of the MLS and was like, okay, you got like 8 or 10 to do a day. Here you go. And so at the time it was kind of like, oh God, this sucks. But honestly, to have that much valuation experience going in and back into investing myself was huge. Like now I just finished up with a package of like 36 properties that a landlord sent over. That was like, hey, can you, I got one of your letters. If you want to make an offer on any of these properties, don't disturb my tenants. And I'm like, cool, 36 BPOs, here we go. And so, and I nailed it. Knocked it out in it took me a little bit longer because I was doing it in between other projects, but finished it up this morning and sent over basically what was 36 offers. And I couldn't be able to do that if I didn't take a job sitting down and doing like 10 BPOs a day, which is a lot of work, but it's like doing 10 appraisals a day. You're like, what is this property worth? What do these comps actually look like?
Let's dive into that a little bit, because I have similar experience. So were you a realtor at that time?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
not yet.
I guess it doesn't really matter one way or another. Anybody can do a BPO.
Sure.
But guys, like everybody wants to know, how do I evaluate this? How do I evaluate that? Just start evaluating properties, start comping properties out. Because I did exactly what you did. I got paid to do BPOs left and right.
Sure.
And, this was during the downturn, so not many people were buying and selling real estate. So I was broke. So I jumped on these.
Yeah.
And if you want to get good at comping properties, go comp 1,000 properties.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because now, Anson, if I say, hey, I got a 3.2 in this particular zip code, this particular neighborhood, you can tell me pretty much what it's worth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I always say, like, learning to analyze a market or a neighborhood. Once you're good at doing that, once you know what properties are worth, what investors are paying for them, what the exit looks like, what the rentals are going for. Once you know all of that, like, you could drop me into any market. And if I have the right tools, if I get MLS access, or if there's a good Redfin service or something, I mean, I have 90% of the data to be able to go and do deals, because I know what investors are paying. I know what the actual end product should sell for. I know what landlords are paying. I know what developers are paying for lots. I know what those developers are selling those for. And having those skills means that we can move. Whereas a lot of people in real estate, they're terrified of moving because they're like, I know this market. And if I get dropped into Des Moines, I don't know that market. It's like starting over. Well, if you have those fundamental tools of analyzing everything in a market, you can get dropped anywhere, or you can do it virtually. Like Chris can sit at his computer and do it, in Nashville if he has the data, for sure.
Yes, sir. That's so true. Yeah. And just doing it over and over again, practicing that's what makes you good at valuation, because time is typically of the essence when there's a wholesale deal out there. You need to jump on that quick.
Yeah. And even if you're on a wholesale list and you just practice, like I'm going to look at their comps and I'm going to pull my own, and I'm just going to put in the work, maybe it takes a half hour, whatever. I'm going to put in the work to see what I think this property is worth. I'm going to analyze the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, pool, no pool, basement, no basement. You guys don't have basements there. And all that stuff, and just put in the reps, like they say. And then, over time, you're just going to get better and better, just like analyzing rehab budgets and,
Yeah, that's another funny thing. That's another funny thing with budgets. Like you'll run 100 of them. Like for me, like I would run 100 budgets, and almost all of them were like right around 25,000. I mean, but that's okay. That's a good thing that you really need to learn. So
right, exactly.
All right, so we've got through the BPOs. You're making a little bit of cash. You're finding out how to evaluate properties.
Yep.
And you know what? On that, I would say to any newbie out there, I think this is a great test. So you're on a wholesale list or several, so you're going to get deals thrown past you all the time. Make a spreadsheet, comp it out. What do you think it's going to sell for, ARV, right? And then just make that list and then go back and see how you do. You're going to find out, and then put what the wholesaler said it was worth too. That should be
No, and that's a really great point. I think that over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 months, those are going to pop back through as either rentals, flips, whatever they're doing. And then you can see, oh, this guy bought it for this much. Our tax records are pretty good, so I can see what they bought it for if it's recorded. And then I can go and see what they sold it for. So, okay, the wholesaler got his price. Okay. And then 3 months later, like it was way less than the ARV that the wholesaler said, or it was right at it.
Right. One
piece you don't know is the rehab budget, but everybody's crews are different, methods are different, all that stuff. But I mean, what would it hurt to even maybe track down some of those owners and just say, hey, I'm learning. I was tracking this deal. Can you tell me kind of what you spent on rehab? I mean, that's a 5-minute conversation right there. Yeah. That could be huge, right?
For sure. And that's another great way to build your buyers list.
Also true. Yeah.
Find that wholesaler in town, which we all have them, who just gets stupid prices for their properties, and they have a list of really dumb buyers.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have open tax records, you're in a disclosure state, not a non-disclosure state. Yeah, we can go back and we can look at all those transactions, track down those people, and boom, now they're my buyer.
Exactly, right. And this is the tricks of the trade. This is the things that you guys need to do. So we got Chloe, we got Elizabeth Navarrete in the house. Thanks for joining us, guys. Let's see who else we got. We got Nancy Quiros in the house. Armando, one of our top fans, is joining us. Guys, bring Anson questions. We're going to dive into wholesaling. We're going to dive into fix and flips. We're also, like we were talking about on our little meme, we're going to talk about changing markets as well, because that very well could happen in the next year or so. So let's see. Chloe says, woot woot. She's a newbie. Thanks for the advice. You got it. Let's see. Shock Riddles is calling you a wimp, telling you that the heat makes you tough.
The cold makes you tougher.
Oh, true that. Okay, man. So let's move forward. Where are we at?
All right. So yeah, we were doing BPOs for a while. We were kind of stuck in BPO land.
So you're making a couple $100 per BPO. You're adding value to your knowledge base. You're finding out how to comp properties.
Right. Yeah. And so that team had started to fold, and so I actually decided just to get my license. So that's when I got my license, was like right at the beginning of 2007. And I've never regretted getting my license. I think it's always been a great tool to have as an investor. You know, there's a little bit more hoops that you have to jump through with disclosure and paperwork and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I have direct access to all the tools I need, and I save money when I flip. I make money when I buy. It's always been a great tool. So I kind of wish I got it sooner, but at that point in my life, I didn't know what I didn't know. So
Right.
yeah.
Hey, I'm a big proponent. I also have my real estate license, and so many people poo-poo it in the investing world, which, dude, it kind of blows my mind. Is it because we have to abide by a code of ethics? Like, do they not want to act ethically?
Right. No, man. And I use that to my advantage when I go meet with sellers. I just say, listen, I have this board, this board of directors that's above me, that's ready to drop the hammer at any time that I screw up. And so you can actually go and look at my track record to see if I have any black marks on my record. If I've had any complaints, if I've had any, judgments or rulings or fines imposed by, or had my license pulled, for being shady. And my track record's clean. And there's nothing like that for investors to go back and check out their history or check out their, like you said, I have this ethical board above me that keeps me, it doesn't keep me straight, because I'd like to think of myself as honest and without a board of ethics. But, at least I have that versus my competition. So
for sure,
I try to use that as my advantage.
I think it does give you a big advantage. Now, one of the quick disadvantages is they think when you're contacting with marketing, they kind of think you're looking to list their house. So our letters always say, yes, I'm a realtor, and no, I don't want to list your house. So that's what we do. So for me in Arizona, we just disclose, hey, I'm a licensed realtor in Arizona. And then that typically goes on the purchase contract. And then secondly, I have to run any Arizona transaction through my brokerage to make sure paperwork's right.
Same thing. Yep.
Like, is that it for you guys as well?
Yep. I have to disclose, and everything has to be run through my brokerage. So even if I'm doing a wholesale on my own time, I can never not represent myself or my company. And so that's how it was explained to me. It was like, you can never take your realtor hat off to then just be a buyer. Like, since you have that license, you always represent yourself, unless you're under contract with another realtor to represent you as your buyer's agent or whatever.
Right.
Those don't have to go through my brokerage. But if I'm just contacting a seller, we do an off-market deal, that still goes through my brokerage. So
sure.
Yeah, same thing.
And making sure you do all your paperwork right. Nothing wrong.
Yep.
With it,
Yeah. As much as I hate paperwork, at least there's a record there of that transaction and that it was done correctly. So,
okay. So now you got your real estate license. Did you say, hey, I'm going to be a realtor, or no, I'm going to use this to my advantage as an investor?
I did go down the retail route for about 6 months, and because working closely and becoming friends with the leader of our team, he was doing 50 transactions a year, and you kind of see what that lifestyle is. It's like nice clothes and nice cars and big house and all this stuff. And I was like, you kind of get caught up in it when you're in it every day. You're like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I just get to help people, and I get paid a lot of money. And so about 6 months I went down that road, and I had good success my first year with just retail business. But I quickly realized I hate open houses. I hate doing 10 or 12 showings on a Saturday. I love people, but I think the stress of kind of the biggest purchase of their life turns even your best friends into very strange people. And so I wanted to separate that a bit and go back to kind of the more just numbers, less emotional part of investing. So yeah, for about 6 months, we did the open houses and stuff. It was fun. but
yeah, it's an experience, and it's you know what, it is an awesome way to make a good living. I mean,
it is.
realtors, if you're a successful realtor, you will make a ton, and you won't have to, compared to the amount of hours you work. But I'll tell you what, man. So I became a realtor, got into real estate because I wanted to be my own boss.
Sure.
My first year making 6 figures as a realtor was like the worst year of my life.
Really?
I mean, I had 10 bosses.
Yeah.
I didn't have one. Now I had 10 people on my butt telling me what to do. And the money was great, but the stress and all that just, I'm just like, you know what? I'm my favorite client. So why don't I just work?
That's true. Yeah. That guy's easy to work for. He lets me sleep in sometimes. So.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, we got a couple of questions rolling in. And so Andrew's asking a question about kind of competition within the market. So before we get there, why don't we move forward to how you got into actually doing deals in the Denver market?
Yeah. So at the time I had been doing a couple wholesales here and there, kind of understanding that the market was falling pretty quick, and that REOs were becoming more and more abundant. So at the same time that we were doing, and at the time I switched over and I joined a team that was selling REOs. And so I kind of jumped into the deep end of, doing BPOs, doing my own business. Then all of a sudden we're selling like 300-400 REOs a year. And that's a machine in itself, but, kind of really understanding the whole back end of, what banks are looking for, getting to know a lot of asset managers, the whole process from beginning to end, from foreclosure all the way through to, the resale. And so,
sure, to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about.
Sure.
Our REO is real estate owned, meaning the bank foreclosed and they took it back. And so Anson worked on a team where they worked REOs, and banks just give you many properties. And then he also mentioned an asset manager. Why don't you tell them what an asset manager does?
Yeah. So the asset manager is basically the dispositions manager at the bank. And, so Wells Fargo has probably, at the time they had hundreds of asset managers, but basically they're just an employee who has a couple hundred files that they're trying to get through from foreclosure all the way to getting off the bank's book. So all the way to sale. So they deal with mainly agents in their local markets on pricing and clean outs and all the stuff that goes along with REO.
So much work. What is involved? Tell them. People do not understand how much work.
Oh man, it's brutal. So like the minute it goes to foreclosure, usually they assign it to an agent local to do like kind of the first BPO, and then they assign it to another agent to do a second opinion BPO. So that way it's not just one agent coming in with a value. And then from there, the agent has to determine whether the property is vacant or not. If the people, just moved out, or if they're still there. Some people actually didn't even know that their house went to sale. So yeah, if it was vacant, then you can kind of move forward. You can rekey the property, clean it up, get it ready for sale, go through that whole process. If the property is occupied, then they would have to offer cash for keys.
Oh, cash for keys. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So,
because this is something that comes up for a lot of real estate investors.
Sure.
They take over a property. There's a pissed off tenant or a squatter or somebody, right? So why don't you tell them what cash for keys is in the process?
Yeah. So cash for keys is basically a bribe of saying, we're going to give you some money and you're going to leave the property without destroying it. And, for somebody who just went through a foreclosure, obviously they may not have money to move. That might be part of their problem. They just don't have that couple $1,000s to get out and go, move into a new place or move across the country, whatever they're trying to do. Yeah. So when you contact them and we would say, listen, your house has been, foreclosed on, unfortunately. But Bank of America or whoever, Chase, is offering some money in order for you to, leave the property. So usually their first offer was like $1,000 to be out in 2 weeks. And most people are like, 2 weeks isn't good enough, or 2 weeks is too short. What can we do? And so, and there is negotiation there. A lot of people didn't understand that you can come back and say, listen, I need $2,500 and I need 30 days. And you just run that up the chain. You just go, hey, pre-marketing or the pre-marketing asset manager, just say, hey, this is what they're offering. And then they go do their thing and they go, yeah, sounds good. So you go back to the homeowner and say, okay, they approved $2,500, be out on this date. And, in the meantime, you have to get all your stuff out and leave the house in broom clean condition. No stuff left, not the trampoline in the backyard still, not paint cans in the closet. Like, it has to be 100% empty. Otherwise it comes back on the agent, and, had that happen a couple times, but
so guys, use this as an example of how to do your investment properties. So
right.
First thing, the BP or the REO agent, they get to be the good cop, right? And so
totally,
you get to go save the day. Hey, they're going to allow me to pay you. I'm so sorry. I can't believe they foreclosed on you, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And you get to be the good guy, right? So when you're going there to a property that you're trying to take over, don't be the bad guy, be the good guy. Be like, oh yeah, my business partner, well, I'm in charge of doing this and that. And what can I do to help you? This,
right.
You want to go to at a human level, right?
Yep. Yeah. And you deal with hundreds of these, and you've heard every single story, under the sun. And if they're super cooperative and super nice and really, really understood, where they're at, we would help them out. We'd say, I think you can get more time. Just ask for it. Obviously, if it's you as the investor and this is your money and your time, it might be a little different, but you can still be the good cop. If you're like in your head, you go, I'd pay up to $2,500 just to get this, done, maybe start at $1,500, and then you have room to play and say, listen, you need more time. We can do more time. Operate within those guidelines and be, like you said, be the good guy. And then all of a sudden you're not the asshole who kicked him out. Now you're the guy who worked with them and actually gave them more money or more time, than they were expecting,
And time is money on a fix and flip. A lot of people don't understand that. Like, it's not only your utilities, mortgage, interest, all that stuff, opportunity cost,
Sure.
You can take that chunk of money and turn it 4 times instead of 3 times. That's worth $20,000-$30,000. So
right.
Paying cash for keys, giving them, say, hey, I know you're hard up. So, do this, this, and this, and I'll give you the cash,
Right.
We've rented U-Hauls before,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Deal, but to be able to get either close the deal or be able to move on.
Yeah. And if your holding cost is $3,500 a month and they're like, I need 30 days, that's going to cost you $3,500 just to sit on it. So maybe they can do $1,500 for 2 weeks, and then you just saved, half of $3,500 right there, minus the difference. But yeah, exactly. Time is money, and playing with the bank's money was fun because
right.
It's a giant bank, and they're mostly evil anyways. So who cares? I'll spend all their money, but yeah. So it was interesting, but it was a good. It was a good experience to go, okay, like this time is money, and it's important for these people to have something in order to get out. Because if they're left to their own devices, on the way out, they might just punch, holes in every square inch of drywall and then rip out the pipes or rip out the counters on their way out, and we had houses like that, of course, but
what's the worst you've seen? Did you ever have concrete in the toilet?
I think we did. I think we had concrete in all the drains.
Oh, it's so brutal, man.
And we did have one where they purposely flooded the basement. And so there was, and I don't know whether,
man, that is criminal. That's ridiculous.
It is. And there was literally just mold like up to 5 feet in the entire basement. Like, it was bad. Wow. And I don't know, like, we basically run that back to the bank, and I don't know what they do with it at the end of the day. I don't think that they pursued it, but
yeah, BP just wrote down here, and he loves this statement: you attract more bees with honey than vinegar.
Sure.
That's the truth.
Yeah. If you go, like, look here, I'm working with you, and I'm going to give you cash, and all I'm asking for is the house just to be left, left clean. That's it.
For
So.
sure. Yeah. So we got a few comments here. BP and Elizabeth are agreeing with you. Investors are way less emotional. Elizabeth wants to know, is this a Propelio wristband? This is the old one. I need the new one, Elizabeth. This one is don't forget why you started. So if there's a new one, I want a copy. Andrew has the question, and I am going to hit it, Andrew, I promise. And then Andrew says concrete and toilets was a Vegas classic when the market crashed. People are evil, man.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Stripping out pipes and all, taking the air conditioner with them and all kinds of stuff, man.
All right. So you got good at negotiating with people. You got it good at comping properties.
Yep. Yep.
What are you doing now? What's next?
Yeah. So, I am investing at that time. I'm buying REOs, as, in hindsight, should have just bought as many as I could and held on to them. But we were flipping and wholesaling REOs and really learned, it was the easiest time basically to be alive. It was like contract an REO, sell it, wholesale it or sell it to a hedge fund and call it a day. And so, little emotion and little headache there. It was basically like we could buy these things sight unseen, sell them to hungry investors who wanted inventory, who, were handing them a good deal because we could negotiate really good with banks at that point. And, hand them a great deal. And then as the market started turning, REOs and foreclosures were going down pretty rapidly, but there's a lot of people who are still underwater. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall of, every year our REO numbers were dropping of what we were selling. And so, but short sales were rising. And so basically pivoted, kind of sold out our inventory on REO with our clients. And at the same time, tried to build up as much short sale inventory as we could.
What's a short sale, Anson?
So Chris owes $200,000. And at the time, he could only sell his house for $100,000. So he either has to come to the closing table with $100,000 or negotiate with the bank to say, listen, I can't pay 200. That I know that's what I owe, but I can't pay that because the market's only at 100. Are you willing to reduce my loan amount to this much or my payoff amount to 100 grand so I can sell this thing? And right. So at the time, everybody was underwater basically. And so it was kind of the Wild West of short sales. Like nobody knew what was going on. And so like
very few of them actually got done in our experiences. The banks weren't ready for them. They had an asset management team of 5 people, and all of a sudden they have 5,000 requests for short sales. It was brutal, man. It was, you really, really, really had to just be patient on the phone, because I was on the phone all day long. Just like they would lose your paperwork 10 times. You'd have to write like the file number on the bottom of like 100-page short sale package that you're like faxing in, everything under the sun. Like, and then when I had one that went on for like 2 years, and it was a Bank of America deal, and they just kept dropping the ball. New asset manager assigned, and then another new asset manager assigned, had to start all over each time. And I finally blew up. They finally opened up like a Twitter helpline. So it was like B of A help. And I would blow that thing up every day. And then they would DM me with the file number, and then I'd get a phone call from like the president response team because that was the only way to get something done, was to like escalate it and push it. And it seemed like we knew a lot more about the short sale process than anybody at Bank of America, except for like the higher end managers or the people on the presidential team. It was so crazy. Like we were trying to push these things through, like, no, you need to do this, this, and this. And they're like, I don't know. And then they'd sit on it for 2 weeks, and then we'd have to try and escalate it. It was an interesting time for sure. So, well, just like anything, it's all about who you were. It's all about your network, So if you know somebody at the bank, they're going to push you through because they know you and they know that you know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. And I wish it had a system like REO where it was just assigned to like one asset manager, and they would handle like all of your files, and they knew you and you knew them. And and you had a good working relationship, but it was just like a new person every time you called in. And this is somebody's house, somebody's livelihood. They're facing foreclosure, and you're trying to get the bank to agree to pause the foreclosure while we do the short sale negotiation. So sometimes you're up against this clock of foreclosure, and you're trying to get them to cooperate. You're like, we're trying to pay you money. You're gonna actually make more than going through the whole REO process. We're trying to help you here. And yeah, it was an interesting time for sure.
It really was. It's because they're kind of just making the rules along as they go. A lot of us would, get all the way to the very end, and they would be making more than a foreclosure. But there's a thing called mortgage insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to throw everything. Yeah, we would make more, but we're going to get paid. So screw you.
Yeah, we get paid. Yeah, we get paid regardless. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or the back end investor finally just says no after 3 months of work.
Right.
The person who put up the money is like, no, I'm not taking a short.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's move into finding deals, because a lot of people who are only in the market the last few years, they might look at us talking about picking up MLS deals like we're crazy. But back in 2010, 2011, I didn't do anything off market because REOs, they were just houses away. Yep. So is that how you found a lot of your first deals when you were getting started?
I mean, yeah, when I was first started, kind of like this long story arc that we're talking about, REO to short sale. And then when our market increased to the point where there's nobody underwater, basically, really quick, like in our big short sale days, there was like 3,500 listings that would come up. Or if you searched MLS, there's like 3,500 short sales. And now, I mean, I looked the other day, there was like legitimately 3 out there. So if you were a short sale investor and you were still trying to pursue short sales today, you have 3 to choose from, and you're probably out of business. So we had to shift to off market, which is kind of what everybody's doing now. I used to call it direct mail, but now it's so much more than direct mail. So it's just like direct to seller, however you can get in front of them, marketing. And so, yeah, that's where we spend all of our time now is direct to seller.
Okay. So the question that Andrew had was, he wanted me to ask specifically about front range strategies, which work right now in the off market realm.
On the front range.
Yeah. What's front range? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. So Denver sits right up against the mountains.
Okay.
And so we have, Boulder, Fort Collins, Denver, Colorado Springs, and we all sit, like 30 minutes from the mountains. And so it's called like the front range of basically, we're sitting right in front of the mountains. So that whole area is
how you're finding deals. How are you finding these off market properties right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, my favorite way still, it still works today, driving for dollars. It really gets you inside the neighborhoods and gets your eyes on properties that may not be showing up on any lists that somebody could pull from, from ListSource or wherever. Yes. And so that's still my favorite way, honestly, to get in front of these sellers. I mean, there's 100 ways to skin the cat, but that's definitely my favorite right now. And then, honestly, networking with the right people, networking with agents, networking with estate sellers, networking with as many people as you can who are kind of these gatekeepers in front of properties. They're kind of like the asset managers of old. It's like if you have a good estate sale person that you work with or gotten to know or call, all of a sudden, you have somebody who sees these properties and sees the sellers, knows their story, and they can be like, hey, Andrew has, I know this guy, Andrew, who buys houses just like this, the grandma hoarder house, or, something that needs updates, hasn't been updated since the 60s, Yeah. They sit there and they listen to the stories of these people who are like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this house. It can't be sold like this. I can't remove all this stuff. And then they, whether it's that agent, estate person, lawyer, whoever it is, can walk in and save the day by knowing you. And so that's another really good way to kind of get in front of these deals before they hit the market Because I think there are deals here and there on MLS. I just don't spend my time there because it's a waste of time, honestly, for me.
For sure. I 100% agree. And guys, just because it's a bad thing now doesn't mean it always is. I mean, so I love what you were saying, Anson. Driving for dollars for Phoenix as well. That for me is the number one way to do it because everybody else is already on a list. Absentee owner is huge. What else? So absentee owner, landlords, burnt out landlords, that kind of thing. Everybody has these lists. Everybody's mailing these lists. So you need to find the properties that are not out there. Did we lose you? We can't hear you.
How about now? We good now?
Good. We're good. All right.
Weird.
I think, did I freeze up or did you freeze up?
I think we both froze up. We're trying to meet in the middle in cyberspace. No, I didn't catch probably the last like 30 seconds of what you're saying there.
So I was just talking about how driving for dollars is so effective in Phoenix because everybody else is on a list. If it's a burnt out landlord, there's a landlord list. There's an out-of-state owner list. And these people have stacks of letters this high.
Yep.
So by networking, you're getting to the properties before anybody else. And then by driving for dollars, you're finding properties that aren't necessarily on a list.
Right. Yeah. And you nailed it. I mean, I say that to people and they don't really believe me. Like I can give them examples of where I'm one of people calling me. They're like, I don't get any letters, like this is interesting. What do you do? Not this grizzled landlord who's getting 15 letters a month, 15 yellow letters a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I have a good example where there was a guy who, he wasn't on any list. He wasn't getting a divorce. He wasn't dead. He wasn't, he didn't have like a crazy amount of equity to hit an equity list. He wasn't an absentee landlord. He basically just lived there and the house looked like crap. And you wouldn't know that unless you put in the time to get in your car or pay somebody to get in their car and go drive each neighborhood in your target area for sure.
Do you pay people to drive for dollars for you?
I do now. Yes.
Okay. What's that look like?
That looks like paying a lot of money because I think I was paying like 17 an hour to this guy. And honestly, I think a lot of people are like, oh, who's going to want to do that job? Right. But I put it out on Craigslist last spring and just like, so first of all, I didn't say it was like driving for dollars or real estate related. I just said super easy driving job, driving neighborhoods, no sales, no pressure, basically just pushing on an app, every, whatever, 2 minutes or something like that.
Oh, that would have been my dream job when I was like 19.
I know. And I put in like some specific things that I wanted because I knew I'd get some decent response, So I was like, attach, why you want to do this job in a PDF. I wanted to make sure that they're paying attention to detail, and then I want you to say this phrase somewhere in your email, the jade monkey flies at midnight. And it sounds ridiculous, but I want to make sure that, and out of like 50 applications, I had to turn it off after 24 hours. I had 50 emails and 3 people followed the instructions, and so out of those 3, 1 fell out because she didn't want to drive, halfway to meet me. I was like, this is a driving job. Like next. And I finally found this like engineering student who's just like, I want to make extra money on the side. And then by the time I met him, he's like, I just Googled you to make sure that you're legit. And he's like, I started listening to some podcasts that you're on. He's like, this sounds awesome, And so he did an amazing job. And I basically left it flexible. I said, I want, 10 hours a week, it could be more. Try not to do less if you can. And yeah. And I had a Google map of basically drew a bunch of colored quadrants. And I just said, hey, when you're out, each one of these should take about an hour. And each one of these like little neighborhood sections. Yeah. And yeah, just pound it out in whatever order you want, before work, after work, middle of the day. I don't care. Like, and then I gave him I kind of gave them a format of what I'm looking for, kind of a little training manual. And then after we met at Starbucks, we jumped in the car and we went through like the nearest neighborhood. And I was kind of scared because it was like an upper, kind of upper blue collar neighborhood. I was like, there's not going to be anything in here. And, so we were hemming and hawing over like, is that roof bad enough? Like kind of like you do when you're driving and you're like, is this worth, so if I hit the button, I'm going to be mailing to them for at least 8 months. Is it really worth it or not? Is it bad enough? And so we were discussing a lot of that. And then we found like 2 just absolute trash holes, like in the middle of this neighborhood that you would think that it's not, that those houses don't exist. And so, so I was like, not only tap it on the app, but like email me the address, because I want to make sure I'm like specially targeting the really, really, really worst of the worst.
Right.
And so he did that for 3 months and nailed down like 2,500 more properties. And huge, definitely worth the money. Absolutely.
That's totally invaluable. I tell you what, those are the best leads that you can find. So when we had I typically would do it myself, but all of our team members are taught to take a second route home. If you're going home, go take a neighborhood that you haven't hit and drive for dollars. So we like to do like the really, really bad one. We would have those on a list. If it's boarded, vacant, that's really what we're looking for. But then in regular neighborhoods, we'd also have an ugly house list, to where people live there. It's just an ugly house. When they sell down the road, they'll probably want to sell off market, because nobody likes to have their house, So those people we're not going to market as much, maybe they're once a year, twice a year. But we like to do as many lists as possible. So how many deals are you getting off those leads?
Just for driving for dollars?
I mean, is that a steady stream of deals flow for you guys?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd say that we get, we're not high volume. We try to have time to go do whatever we want, but so we don't do 100 deals a year. So we do about 20 flips a year, maybe another 10 to 15 wholesales, and then agent deals on top of that. So in very small team, so it's very much like a lifestyle type business.
I was just about to say lifestyle, man. You are living. Some people are like, oh, we got to crush it. We got to make $50 million. It's like, well, you know what? Some people just want to be extremely comfortable in life. What is your team?
Right, exactly.
Who do you have on your team?
So so it's myself, my wife. She does a lot of design, bookkeeping, that kind of stuff, some light project management. We have a guy named Dwight who does our driving, and he'll do like miscellaneous tasks too. Like he'll go hang a lockbox or go take pictures or go punch a sign in the yard kind of thing. So he's kind of a random dude who I appreciate very much. But and then we have a project manager who handles he's kind of like the king of the GCs. So he goes out and I wouldn't say GCs, I guess, but he's just the king of our crews. He'll go in and make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And so basically just the 4 of us. That's it.
Okay, cool.
So very small.
Yeah, no, that's good. When I finally had 15 employees, I realized I don't want a lot of employees. So scaled back quickly. Andrew has another question. How would you or would you not work with local title companies and the local realtor association to get the word out and to be known for doing these types of deals?
That's a great question. Because title reps honestly know everybody. I mean, it's their job to literally just go out to lunches and coffees and do everything that they can to, your title closer knows a lot of people, but that rep is really the front of the company. Knowing enough title reps who taken me to lunch and, bought me Bronco game tickets and whatever. That's literally their job, is to connect people so that they can do more business for their title company. And so, I think it's definitely worth it to, being on the realtor side, we get title reps all the time, but maybe on the investor side, they're not courting us. But yeah, I think that's huge too. I don't know about realtor associations, honestly. Like, at least in Colorado, there's the agent and then there's the realtor side. So we can have non-realtor agents, and then realtors. And I can't remember how it works in Phoenix. I don't know if everybody has to be a realtor, but basically I choose to not pay the realtor association thing every year. So I'm just an agent. And so you're probably, if you go into a realtor association group, you're probably hitting like 50 or 60% of the agents who are in that area. And then the rest are just licensed agents and don't have that realtor designation. Anyway, semantics aside, I would, I don't know. I've never done that. I've gotten in front of individual agents and, or sent out marketing to agents that are just like, hey, do you have a pocket listing? Do you have like the world's worst hoarder house, and you don't know what to do with it? You can still save the day, make twice the commission because you can represent me and, get rid of this house that you would hate to list, or you would hate to have it cleaned out, or, it's a huge point of stress for your seller. And, agents are gatekeepers of their own. And sometimes they come across, Uncle Bob's house who, he's the worst hoarder that they've ever seen. And realtors aren't equipped for that. They don't know what they're doing. And they look at that as that's like 10 times more work than just listing that other house down the street that's move-in ready, And so if they have people like you or me in their back pocket where they go, Andrew can come and save the day. And then they look like the savior because they're like, I brought a buyer and we didn't have to list it. And, everybody wins. So yeah, I think it's absolutely critical. I think title reps, they see and they know everybody. They know all the biggest players that close with them regularly, and they can connect you with the right people for sure. And then agents, obviously, they're gatekeepers of their own. So pocket listings, really crappy houses, maybe they'll come across an opportunity that's outside their skill set. They're like, I don't know, somebody wants to list a sixplex. I don't know. I only do single family, And so there's opportunity there too, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great advice. So Andrew, definitely a couple things you want to focus on. Like Anson said, just the title reps. Don't worry about going to each title agent. The title reps, their networking is their business. So they know everybody. Mm-hmm. Secondly, let them know. I think this works better on bigger deals. Because if, they're trying to close a $2 million apartment, that's a big fee that they're going to collect. And so
that's huge. Yeah.
We like going to them and saying, hey, if you have any big deals that fall through, let us know. We might be able to come save the day. You know what I mean? Because especially smaller title companies, this was advice from a mentor of mine. And especially the smaller title companies, like a big escrow closing could be very bad for their business.
Right.
So, find a way to help them out. And then with agents, Google or find a way. There's different sources, but find the top realtors. You don't want to talk with. If a realtor is going to sell one house a year, you don't need to know them. Find the person who's selling 100, and be an asset to them. Make sure you pay them too. Hey, bring me a deal. I'll make sure you get your full commission.
Right.
We like to get paid, right?
Yeah, we definitely do that too, where we go, hey, you can get paid 2 or 3 times, on this deal, whereas you would just get paid once.
Yeah.
We'll let you represent us.
Yeah, you will. So if I bring you a deal, will you let me list that flip?
Absolutely. That's the third way you can get paid. So you get paid twice when I buy it, and then you get paid when I list, when I sell it through you. And so you can easily make, instead of, $3,000, all of a sudden you're making closer to 9 or 12 because you handed the deal to my company, and you get, way more money than if you just sold it on MLS, for one side of the commission. So money motivates realtors for sure.
Right. And everybody else.
And, and even those, one of my best REO kind of leads was through a small, he was just a guy who listed like maybe 15 REOs a year for like a tiny bank, and they just liked him. They didn't have a lot of inventory. He wasn't like the big sharks. He wasn't the big HUD guy closing 1,500 a year. He was just, going to him and saying, listen, you can double, triple in this. He's like, I'll bring them all to you. Like, cool. So there is a niche there for the smaller people who don't get maybe courted by the Chris and Brian's of their market. They're, maybe they close 20 deals and, all of a sudden they're given an opportunity to make more money by selling deals to you, for sure.
Awesome. So, hey man, besides driving for dollars, what's the number one way or the number two way that you're finding deals in the Denver market in 2019?
Yes, for sure. So, definitely, I think, and that's the thing, like one thing doesn't work anymore. So it feels like you have to stack, 10 things, in order for stuff to work. And for me, I could say, it's this list, but it's not this list. It's literally, I think you alluded to it before where, I take all my lists and I stack them and I see who is on multiple lists. So it's not just about like going out and getting that probate list and you're going to make your entire career off of your probate list. It just doesn't happen anymore. You'll get deals there. Sure. And you'll get deals off of the code violation list or the, even still like the high equity, list, you'll still find deals there. But if you stack all those lists together, if you have 10 lists and you say, I'm going to cross check all these lists to see who's on multiple lists. So instead of, let's say 5,000 across 10 lists, now all of a sudden there's like 50 people who are on like 3+ lists. Right. Like, of course, you're going to market to the 5,000 or you're going to do what you can to the 5,000. But those 50, I'm now going to, they're my special project now. I'm going to cold call them. I'm going to go knock on their door. I'm going to, mail them special mail. I'm going to do anything that I can to get in front of them because I know that since they're on multiple lists, that they have multiple points of motivation or they have multiple reasons to sell, multiple ways for me to make a deal out of it. And so I think that that's probably my second, biggest favorite thing is to really niche down my efforts. And so I'm going to mail those 5,000 or I'm going to contact those 5,000 one way or the other. Right. But those 50 are now my special list that I'm going to really nail and go after for sure.
Great stuff, man. So let's go all the way back. Tell people about Rich Dad. How did Rich Dad affect your life? And what are some of the principles that you use today from that book in your life?
Yeah, for sure. So, coming from someone who had just 2 working parents, basically working 30 years till you retire. And then I got into actually the same line of work. My dad was in telecommunications and then IT. And then I jumped into IT. And, he worked in network rooms, my whole childhood and, bring home computers and, kind of grew up in that environment. I was just like, okay, this is just something you do, right? You just go sit in a cubicle, wait out your time, avoid layoffs for, for 30 years, and then you get to retire, right? Honestly, I had no bandwidth outside of that. And so, that's where I think Rich Dad just kind of crashed down on my life and just shattered basically my notions of what life really could be. And, I remember having a conversation with the guy who gave me the book and before I read it, we were talking about rental properties for some reason. And I was like, how do you, like, you get one mortgage, right? And you live in that house. Who the heck is going to give you a second mortgage? Like, we were having this discussion like at 11 p.m. in a parking lot somewhere. And like, I could not wrap my brain around why any bank would be dumb enough to give you 2 mortgages. It's like, how the heck are you going to make enough money to afford 2 mortgages? It did not, nothing, got through until I read that book and literally just kind of smashed my entire perception of life. And I think to this day, I I think the principles that I take from that is some of the cash flow quadrant stuff that he talks about in there, for sure. But I think I just carry with me every day. Like I used to be, really closed-minded and really just kind of part of the system of like, okay, this is just what you do. You get a job, you retire one day, and then you die, I guess. And then really appreciative of my mind being opened of, I think he talks about like walking through a neighborhood and seeing a house for sale or seeing a bad house. And he like calls up that person. And I was just like, you could do that, and we do that now. We do it every day. Right. So, I carry like, I guess the heart of that story with me everywhere I go now is like, am I being closed-minded about this? Am I not thinking big enough? Am I, am I limited? Am I not leveling up? And am I thinking too small about all these things? And usually the answer is yes. So yeah. So just the heart and spirit of that book, just like crashing through all the limits, basically, that I can think of. So.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. And you brought up cash flow quadrant. I think that's the real one that really got me thinking like, wow, this is possible. Like, because I was with you, I'm like, I didn't know there was any other way but just to work and go get a job, not even be an entrepreneur, just go get a job and do this. And what do I want to do? It's like, because I didn't want to do anything. I was 22.
Right.
Nothing was fun to me. I wanted to hang out and do my own thing. So just the actual realization that there are other options out there just absolutely blew my mind.
I know, man. I played played like Halo 2 and I was like, I want to do this for my job. Well, now you can, but back then you couldn't.
Right? If we knew you could be a pro gamer, forget about it.
Yeah, right. Who knew?
Awesome, man. Well, we're getting a little bit ready to wrap up. Why don't you tell us, you wrote a book for Bigger Pockets, right?
I did, yeah.
Published through Bigger Pockets?
Yeah, I mean, it's both. I wrote it for them and they published it. So
well, what's the name of that and what's the gist of it?
So yeah, so finding and funding great deals. And it's literally so the gist is it's not like a wholesale book, and it's not a fix and flip book, and it's not a rental book specifically, but it's actually all those things. It just focuses on going from zero to the closing table and everything in between, from market analysis to deal analysis to talking to sellers, negotiating with sellers. A lot of the stuff we talked about is in there: MLS, REO, foreclosure, short sales, all of that, all the way through marketing, negotiation, contracts, getting through to the closing table. And then the very last chapter is actually repeating the process. And so kind of building a business out of finding deals. Because to me, a lot of people say, well, wholesaling is a great way to get started. And it is. But I think the fundamental of everything that we do is finding deals. Like if you're a good deal finder and then you want to go on to do apartments, you have the fundamentals there. If you want to go on to be a landlord or do commercial deals or do self-storage deals, the fundamentals aren't all that different. If you can go in, analyze the market, figure out who's paying for what, and then the other part of that is funding the deal. So how to finance those deals, creative financing. I think that there's like 10 or 11 different ways to fund deals in there, from raising private money to, more creative owner carry back, subject to, all the way just to like FHA, like live in, a live-in house hack with an FHA loan, that kind of stuff too. So it kind of like, I literally just say, I don't care what you do with the property. I don't care if you just burn it down the day after you close. I'll get you there. I'll get you there. You can find your own gasoline and matches, but I'll get you to the closing table. Whatever you do with it after that is up to you. But if you want to rent it or fix it or whatever you want to do. So, it touches on, rehab analysis, and it definitely hits a lot in purchase formulas, because you have to know, what you know in order to get in there, whether you're flipping or wholesaling or whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, just gets you to the finish line.
Awesome. That's cool. So you can be like Bob Allen too. You can do a revised edition every like 5 years.
I know, man. By the time it came out, which was going on a year and a half ago, now there's all this, there's more like RVM and text blasting and list stacking, like all this stuff that, yeah, I could easily just go back and do an addendum like every 2 years. Cause even now there's stuff that I'm like, oh man, I wish I had that in there, but it wasn't really a big thing at the time. So,
yeah. And that's kind of what's crazy is I think that's why there's so many investors in the market now, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wholesaling is red hot and everybody and their mama wants to get into that because it's accessible. You don't, you can do this with no money. You can do it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to be in an actual market to go do anything like this.
Right. No, and it's true. It's very true. Now, whether they're good at it or not, it's another thing, but
yeah,
you could definitely do it from, pull this source list from your computer. 2 clicks later, you can blast out, postcards or whatever you want to do. And I mean, it's all right here. You can do it right from your computer. But if you want to be really good at it and really find the best deals, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. I think you're going to have to go do a lot of the stuff that other investors don't want to do, and some of that's driving, knocking, doing all the hard stuff that, nobody else wants to do for sure.
Awesome, man. So, hey, why don't you tell everybody how we can find you on social media?
Yeah. So, Facebook, just facebook.com/Anson Young. Let's see. I point a lot of people to Bigger Pockets profile, biggerpockets.com/users/Anson. You can connect with me there. And yeah, either way, just if you have any questions from today, if you need anything, just let me know. I get a bunch and I'm happy to help out wherever I can, especially for you guys and your audience for sure. So,
well, you're a wealth of knowledge and I really appreciate it, man. So guys, if you are listening to this on a replay, whether you're on one of our podcasts, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're watching it on Facebook again, tune in live every Friday, except for this summer. We're here and we have amazing guests and you guys can ask questions live, just like all these other guys. Andrew got his questions in, Chloe got her questions in. So please, guys, go back, ask us questions too. If you're watching this on a replay on Facebook or anywhere else, throw a question in there. We always go back and we answer our questions. So we really want to grow our podcast. So go on to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And then most importantly, pass this on to somebody else who this can benefit. Anson shows people how to become financially free through real estate. Everybody needs to know that. So definitely reach out to him, reach out to us as well. So Anson, one last time, man, thanks so much for being on. I look forward to meeting you in person. BP and I are definitely going to get out to Denver sometime soon.
Nice.
And
do it, man.
Do that. All right, man.
Yeah, I think when BP was out here, he was like having a layover or something, and we couldn't quite hook up. But yeah, anytime, man. You guys are great. You guys do have a great show. You guys are doing really cool things, and yeah, I really am glad that you reached out, and I'm happy to be here. This is awesome. So thank you very much.
No problem, man. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So stay tuned. We have, just a couple more episodes before our Kingdom Connect. So at the end of May, we are going to be in Charlotte for the Kingdom Connect. There's a few spaces left, I believe. I think they have like less than 10 spaces left. So if you guys want to go learn real estate investing, BP is going to be a speaker there. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a lot of awesome people, but we're going to have our 100th episode live from the Kingdom. So hopefully everybody shows up for that. So thanks to everybody. We really appreciate you. And as we always say on our way out, the AZ Flip Guy is going to teach you that you can flip for cash, but you always want to hold for wealth. See you guys later. That's why it's great to have a great